Hi, this is part 2 of the semi-truck with trailer assembly. In this video we will show you how to use our 3D SVG file to create the trailer that goes along with the truck. The truck assembly is shown in part 1. You can get the link to that in the notes below. So now we're to the piece where we can put together the trailer. So if you recall from earlier, unless you're watching this over several days, these are the pieces left, the tires that we did earlier in the truck video. So if you are just jumping to this and you need to do these, this is done in an earlier step. So you can go to that portion of the video. And you can jump around. Just remember, you can go down to the notes below in the notes of the YouTube video. That will give you video chapters to go to. So this has all the little details, like some of the trim and the mud flaps and the back bumper that's already prepped because we did that earlier. Oh, we also have this. So this is a little box. I'll show you how to put it together. It's going to be the same as putting these together, which are little base boxes. So these three, I used a matte cardstock from Basil for the silver base boxes. It looks good in silver, in gray too. Here's gray. And then here are all the pieces to make this. So I don't know if earlier we also prepped the, I'm trying to show you without, to see if I can get it to show here. If you can see it. The things that are harder, so I'm going to try to do that. So if you can see that, that's one side of the latch. And that's the other side of the latch. So we'll be using a little mini brad to place in there so it rotates so we can close it. It's hard to see just because of how big this is and the angle, so I'll try to zoom out. Hopefully when I'm doing it, I'll zoom out if I need to. So that's what we're going to be building right now. And it has a little thing on the bottom, a connector. So as you can see, gray works out well if you, it actually is easier to use for me to do American Crafts texture cardstock than it was to use this. Metallics are always a challenge. So let's go get started here. So I'm just going to put one of these together on film. So I'll explain all these in a couple moments, but for now let's just focus on these three. So really we're only going to focus on one because they're all the same size. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and they're all the same size. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. We just need to put them all together. So we're going to show you how to put one. So this is particularly difficult because it's really thick. So if you do just use a regular cardstock, it'll be easier. But if you want to go and do the whole silver cardstock, just realize that something like this will be more of a challenge to glue. I mean, potentially maybe I should have just done one with the normal textured cardstock, but I decided to do it all silver. So this should be easier if you're using a standard cardstock that's not really thick. This is extra thick. So the way I did it, if you watched earlier, to watch the truck video, it's the same as the base boxes for the truck, but I'll just do one just for the benefit if somebody started off with this part. So I like to do this side first. So I'm going to do that one tab. I'm going to fold in this other tab. And because it's metallic, it's kind of hard to see on film sometimes. I'm going to put this other one in. I have a little bit of a trim that I need to trim this. I don't care if this gets a little glue on the outside because it's going to be covered on the top and bottom. So this is one of those ones where I can get a little messy with it. So I'm just going to fold it in like that. Just line up this edge with the tab fold. I'm going to want to hold it. You could get a little miniature something like this. This would work, a big one. But a clothespin to hold it. I don't know, this is a little bit too big for that. But I have smaller ones if you don't want to hold it for too long. The other side. Just want to get it lined up. So it does take, I like to do the side with the bottom flap first because it pulls on it. If you do the other side, it's kind of hard to maneuver with my hands, so that's why I start on that side. So you could do that on both sides. See, it kind of pulls away a little bit. But this is metallic on metallic, so anybody that knows, has worked with metallics before, realize that this is not the most friendly cardstock to work with, especially with wet glue. I suppose you could use little bits of really strong double-sided adhesive instead of glue if you wanted to on the tabs. I haven't tried that. I'll give it a try, see if it works any better. I have to do the other one, so I'll let you know. I never tried it, so the thought process was it wouldn't. But I have this score tape that I can try, which is pretty strong. That might work well with metallics. So the key here is just, with any of them, is just holding them long enough to make sure you get them in place. And the nice thing about this, as far as this one goes, if for some reason they pull apart just slightly, like in the back, right here, when you pull this down, it kind of will correct itself a little bit. Because all we're wanting this for is a support purpose. It's not for anything, it's just a functional box to hold the trailer and to make it more stable. So when we do this, get them all glued, just go ahead and add glue to all these tabs. Make sure they're up just a little bit because we want the top to grab to attach to the glue and kind of get something to adhere, and we don't want them pushed in, else it won't adhere. If it's pushed in too much, maybe it won't glue properly. So we just want to have them up a little bit so we can go down. As we go down, it's actually touching it. And then with wet glue, this is why I like using wet glue. I can adjust it as needed. So if I have to push in a little bit as I go, that's why I don't normally use tape, because you kind of can't, once the double-sided tape goes down, it's down. It wouldn't be a huge issue. The only thing it would do, for those that might want to use that, the only thing it might do is make this a little bit longer, which will make it, when we put it on the base panel, the panel may just not be long enough. And this might be just a little bit longer than the panel. So that's what could happen. Is it a big issue? No, it's not a big issue. So whatever you're comfortable with. So that's it. So I'll do the other two, and then we'll move on to the actual trailer boxes. So before we go on to make there's two little boxes for the trailer. Just so you know, I did this one with score tape. So I used this on the tabs and the big tabs and the small tabs, and it did fairly well. I mean, it's for somebody who wants to do that. The issue is exactly what I thought, is that when you place it down, it gave me a second to push in the sides, but once it sticks, it sticks. So that's the issue there. But I mean, but you can see this one's a little bit off anyways, and we're only going to put them end to end, and I'll show you shortly. But it just makes it more bulkier. You can see. So anyways, we'll go to that part after we're done with this. So these are the two boxes that will make the trailer portion. So one side will have an opening. something on there. Got it off. So this back will be the back of the truck opening right here with latches, and this will close on this side. This is a completely closed box, so this is going to be the only portion that is a gift box. So you could put a gift card in there, or candy, or small gifts, nuts, whatever. Whatever will fit in there is a good little gift box, because I like to make everything a gift box. So it'll open with a little latch. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this one together. And this one, I'm just going to show you the latch mechanism, and then it'll go together the same way. The only difference is that for this one, the front won't glue shut, just this part. So we'll show you how to put this together. Again, it's just a big box, just like that. And literally, it's to make it so it doesn't really bow in the middle. So this is the way, so I already put this one together. And I said I was going to show you how to put it together, but I put it together incorrectly. So I'm going to show you the second one. So the difference is this has two sides versus only one side that we're going to glue on this one. But before we can glue this together, we need to put the latches on. So for this box, just reference this, and I'll show you. So let's go ahead and put the latches on. So let's go ahead and go to our little stash here. The things I want to pull out are the latch pieces. So there's that one, and there's that one. So I don't know if you recall earlier, I kept this. There's actually three pieces. Is this one too? And this this actually, it's just I put it in there to because of the thickness. I wanted to make sure I was able to get that opening. So the way we're going to do this is that there's two cut lines. Let's see if I can show it. I can't show it if you can see it. Anyways, there's four cut lines there, which will show you where to place it. So basically what it is the outside of this, you want to line them in between those cut lines. And then we have this. That'll line up with the hole, and it'll go either way. Okay, so that's the easy one. This one, there's four cut lines, so right now they're right here, 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 here. So all that's doing is allow me to put it in the correct place, up and down, so I can glue it in the correct area. So I'm just going to put some light glue on the back, not too much. Especially with our metallics. I'm just going to place it between those cut lines first. And then make sure it looks vertical. And it matches at it goes, you know, at the top and the bottom. Put a little glue on that. And then this one is actually way simpler. You can see it just stay away from put a little bit too much glue on the top, but we just want to line up that hole and just make sure it's aligned on the side there, up and down. Get it in place. I'm going to pick it up, make sure that I have the hole lined up properly. Straighten it out a little bit while the glue is still wet. So that's in place. So I went and got a little brad. I believe, I can't remember how large it is. It's a standard mini brad. I'll have it listed in my the product details of the truck. So and this is something that will go behind this, so it'll hide the brad. So we're just going to go ahead and take the latch. So here's the latch part. And we're just going to put it on now because it's going to be easier to glue. So I'm going to put it right in there. So it should go like that, because it'll go like this. We're only doing it because, here, let me stick it in first. We're doing it now because it's just easier than trying to maneuver the box once you have it together. So you could do it later if you wanted to, but before we put that on, I'm going to go double check that, make sure that it works here. So it's going to go like this, and should overlap a little bit here. It's harder to do it when it's not together yet. It'll do something like that. I mean, hopefully you're not opening and closing it all the time, but that's what the latch will look like. It's upside down, so upside right. I know it's a little blurry, but that's it. So I'll put a little picture in the corner so you can see what it looks like closed. So I know this is a little bit blurry, but hopefully you can see it. So it just goes like that. And that's why we reinforce this. We assembled these pieces in the first section. It'll be much easier to open and close with a standard. This is extra thick cardstock, so just realize that. I'm gonna push that out of the way so it doesn't cause any harm when we put the box together. I'll rotate this a little bit. I still want it to move once I glue it down, so I may have to just poke it out just a little bit. So now I'm going to glue this little white piece to the back to hide it. And because it's a little bumpy, because of what's on the front, we'll have to go ahead and just apply pressure with your fingers out like that. So I tried putting this on after. You can put this on after it's put together with that. Just know that there's going to be a little bit of, might take a little bit of finessing. You just have to open the door. It's not a huge deal. I've done it. So, but I just think it's easier to glue these pieces for sure before you assemble it. So this is the way I would put this box and the other box together. You just fold this way with the long tab. And the only place you really have to worry about getting glue on this box is right here in the doors, on the front of the texture side of the doors. This should just fold right over. The other box, you could get glue pretty much anywhere and it won't be seen. Not once we get those long panels on. So these boxes were sized so there are 2 boxes to give it stability. So now, and this is the same, so we'll just right here, these are just little flaps that are kind of support, like box supports, like that. So you can see, and I guess you can see the latch now. Let me say, this is not one you're going to want to open and close. It's really a different kind of closure. And it's still not secure enough because we've got it going like this. We don't want it to go like that. So anyways, this will go in. This is just thick paper. So we'll do it at the very end. Because if you can't do it while it's wobbly. So the other side, you want to do this. So on the other box, this is how you want to do it. And just fold it over. And close the end. So do the long part first and then fold over the ends like this to close it up. I'm going to kind of Squeeze it in, kind of rub on those to make sure that we get it in place. And then you could take a long utensil like the wooden chopstick and apply pressure that way internally. So you can do that for the other one too, but you can only do it on one side, so the other side you'll just have to carefully fold it over, making sure the tabs are up just a little bit with the glue, and then rub on the tab edges, and do this when you're done. So now let's go ahead and put those aside so we have these boxes. We're going to go back to the base over here, these 3 boxes. And I'm going to explain these pieces. So these white pieces are the 2 sides and the top. And then these silver pieces, one's going to be the base, and one's going to be the top part. So the base is the one with the hole in it right here, but we can't put that on yet, so we're just going to put that aside. These are all the trims. So the thicker trims, long trims, there's 2 of them, will go on the sides. You can tell when you line them up which ones are which. So those are the thicker ones, and these are the thinner ones. So these will go, I just misplaced my truck here. These will go right here, the thinner ones, and the thicker ones will go right here. So for now, we want to put these on the base. It's going to help us line them up. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to put those, I have them aside so I know which ones are which. Let's go sideways here. So the key is to get this on there as much as possible. This will be the top. Because of the gaps, it may not be perfect, and that's okay. So just start on one side. And what I usually do, or what I have been doing when I do these, is try to find the ones that match up on the end to end as close as possible. And again, the gap's going to be like how much you pushed in on the side when you made the boxes. So this one's a little bit more than the other. Also, one side you want, each side, try to make a pristine side on each side, because one side you will see. So we're going to make it this side, we'll make this the back, and I'll show you why. I'm going to line that up to the end. So basically get a good, start with one that's pretty clean. Make sure that it's clean on the other side. I switched it. I like this one better. That's really like in on one side. We're going to add glue to the bottom so I can see where it's at. I'm just going to start here. Kind of holding it from the sides before the glue. I want to just line it up exactly so there's not really any overhang. So I'll have more on the other side if for some reason there's too much gaps. I made it longer to account for the gaps, but like right there I have too much of a gap. I didn't push it in, so most likely this is going to be a little bit too short for it. And that's just because how I made the boxes. I'm going to put this, so I don't know which one is the one that it looks like. This is the one with tape because there's gaps. I'm going to put some glue on the end here. So when you glue them end to end, I have to make sure they're straight still. So I'm just kind of feeling down the side. And once then I can go ahead and I'm going to push in from the left to try to get it as close as possible. I need a paper clamp. That's what I need. You have to be careful you don't push too hard, because I can push a little bit harder with this because it's thicker, but with the American Craft cardstock, it could start bowing if I push too hard, and it can collapse. So you can feel it. Just get a good amount of pressure between the two. And all we're trying to do is to get them as close as possible to fit on this. So see, this will be probably too short. Actually, turns out it's almost perfect, but it's slightly too short. And I expected that because there was a little bit, this is thicker cardstock than what I've been using. And that was a big gap. So if I did that one well, this one right here, if I pushed that in, it would have been almost perfect. So if you do have a little bit of overhang, you can trim it. So this is the same thing with the third. It's repetitive, I get it. So if you want to forward, that's okay. Remember, this is just for stability. So I'm just making sure it's straight. I can tell that from the other side, and I can run my fingers along the sides, make sure it kind of for the most part aligns with it. Once it does, I'll just go ahead and again apply pressure until it's secure. So you want to do that for a goodly amount, depending on the type of glue you're using. So now that we have that together, I just flipped it upside down. So this is going to be the top. So that means we're going to glue these two boxes. I'm going to show you. I'm going to select which side is going to be the front of the trailer versus the back, and it's dependent upon what this looks like, what each side looks like. So I liked the back side better. It looked cleaner to me. And the reason is we're going to put it right there. So hopefully you can see it once we get this on it. When we put this down on there, there'll be a little bit of a smidge of overhang on this side. So I'm going to get this closed and then we'll proceed. Okay, I got that closed so you can see from it. So if I have this lined up over here, and you do have to have it the correct direction. So make sure it's this way right here. So make sure it's the correct direction so you can line them up, use that. And the sides are only 1.9, they're 1.96 inches tall, and this is 2 inches wide. So if you need to validate, you just can put them next to each other. You can tell which side. We know this is the side because of the latch. But if you put it like this, if you can see, it's slightly too short. So it'll be it won't work on the side. All right. So I know that's kind of a bit of a pain. So one thing I'm going to do just to make sure is, I think I'll put an indication on these ends to let you know that I'll put a little cutout on, I can't do the cutout, but I'm going to figure out how I can do that. I can do it on the top because we're going to cover the top. So I'll put a little indicator on the top with T on each side so you'll know. I can go make that modification really quick. So we're going to go ahead, if you put them back to back, there's a little, on the very edge, you'll see, I know you can't see it, but there'll be a little overhang on the back, and that's what we want. So we want to start here. So remember, there's going to be, we'll put a little cutout T. I didn't notice that before, but I think that'll be a helpful addition for sure. So now that we have the glue on, we're going to go ahead and line this up. So you want to line it up to the back. See if you can see that, like that. And that's another way you'll know, because the width is the same as the base. I like the ideas of having T on it, though, to help, so there's no question you have it on correctly. So you want to hold it for a little bit until it adheres. So I already added glue to the bottom of the second box and also on the end of the first box. So we're going to go ahead and make sure, obviously, the latch is on the back, towards the back. You want to set it down towards the back first, and then make adjustments. And just like we did the base box, I'm making sure that they're aligned on the left and right as best they can, and then pushing it back a little bit. So I'm making sure that it's aligned with the base, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm pushing from the right end. And theoretically, you could open the doors and apply pressure against the base. I'm just using the same method I did for the back box. And you just want to gently push it. Push them together. So once I had it done, here's what the back looks like. So I had to zoom out a little bit, but I'm going to just go a little bit, see if it zooms in for you, but it doesn't. So you can see there's a little bit of an edge here. That's better right there. Okay. So that, and then we'll put a bumper there. But for now, what we want to do is add the trims and the panels. So what's nice about, first of all, let's differentiate the panels. So I'm going to put that on this back. We want to put these on, so the bottom panel will be last. So these, I noted earlier that one's a little bit bigger. So two of them are going to be the same size for the side, and then one's going to be slightly taller. So you want to put them on that side like that. Just going to go like this, and you can't see it, but one is slightly taller. So just make sure you have the right one. This is the one for the top. So we'll do that one first, and then the side ones. So this is the fun part where you could actually put something on it before you put it on, put a message, depending on if you're giving it as a gift, put a logo, or you could put vinyl on it, anything really. I would probably cut smaller pieces or like little stickers or something and put like a logo with a name, or print and cut. This is kind of big for a print and cut. So the other idea I had with this, when you put it on the side, is to put one on the side but then have another panel slightly smaller that you could interchange. I mean, you know, if you wanted to. So just a thought. I've had a lot of thoughts with this, how you can change it. So we're putting the top one on first. Just again, make sure you have the correct one. So now it should pretty much fit. I mean, if it's too long, it's a little bit too short because of that big gap right there for me. I didn't put the first box together, but as you can tell, even when you mess up a little bit, like I did, I'm just going to push it towards the back, and then this gap will be taken care of with the trim. So make sure you have the right panel again. Just adding glue to this. You could actually add it to the trailer too. So don't add too much, as you don't want it to bleed through. So you could do any color really. You could do a solid, a darker color if you wanted. I just turned it white. So everything's white. So if you wanted to change the panels, you could do that easily. The panel colors in your software. And the other thing I want to note too, and I didn't note that earlier, I made the bases the same color as the panels. The support panels down there is the same colors as the trim. You could also change the color of the support panels, and so these three boxes and the two big panels to cardstock to make it easier to put together, and then cut metallics just for the trim. So that's the other option. I didn't want to confuse too many people, but if you know how to use your machine, most people are going to do that on their own. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the side. So I'm going to add these 2 side panels on, and then I'll show you how to put the trim on. Okay, so I have the side panels on. Okay, so I have the side panels on. So I mentioned that 2 of these were thicker. One of them goes here, and flipping it over. Just be careful not to, it's easier to keep it closed, but just try not to put any pressure back there because you don't want to mess that up. And then the other one will just go right there. So super simple. This is just to hide all the, so remember those are the 2 thicker long ones, and they are longer than the others. So make sure you have a, I'm consistently going towards the back, and then I'll line it up. Make sure you have a little wet, damp paper towel or something, or cloth, to be able to get the excess glue if you have any. We just want to not keep it on the sides. So when it comes to the side one, so now we have the 4 long trims like this, and a bunch of these. So they look like they're the same, but when you start putting them out, there's going to be 4 thicker ones. So hopefully you can see this. I'll kind of put it in the middle there. Well, when you put them all down, you'll be able to distinguish that 4 of them are thicker and 6 of them are thinner. So you can see like there. So make sure those are separated before we get started. One of these is for, not here, this part. For some reason, I thought that somebody might use a regular cardstock on the base. If you do, that will cover it. Do I need it? No, I don't, so it's extra, okay? So I'm going to put one aside. But if you used a different color cardstock underneath, which you can, you could use white, any color that you have excess of, you could use that for the base and then just use these for the trim. So that's up to you. My intention was that I just suggest using gray, but some people are going to want to use silver. So with there's 3 of these bigger ones now still, and those are not, those, I'll show you where those go, but first we want to do these. So we're going to go, these are going to go up and down like this. You could do it either way, just make sure you're consistent. So what I'm going to do is put all these vertical ones, and then I'm going to put the long ones like this, so it overlaps. So it's just a consistent look and feel, if that makes sense for those. So always go towards, they should fit, but just kind of put them here. Let me show you. Let me do one. So I'm going to do this side. So remember, these are the thicker ones, so I'm just moving those to the side so I don't use them. They're different height again, so I wanted to make it, the reason I made them thicker is because it was too hard to distinguish which ones were the ones you needed to use. So I'm going to go all the way to the edge. And the reason I even did the trim this way, so some might say, why didn't you just make a piece? When I come to this end, I'm going to do one there, and then on this side. Like, I could have folded it, but it's really hard to fold when it gets this small if I put a little score line in, so I decided to just make them little strips, and you'll see in a moment. So I'm going to put that down, but I want to make sure, see how far I need to go. So I'm going to start at the back and go to the front. So I'm just going to, it looks like it's in the correct place. Kind of wanted to go as back as possible as I could, so I'm going to do that. Whoops. And I got a little glue there. So you remember, you can't put a whole lot of pressure. These are just empty boxes. and then this will go like this on the top. So I'm going to add the glue here. When it comes to, you can do this, just be careful. You know what the width is. See, I just went down just a little bit too much on that one. But you want to be careful because with the, if you put it on here and you dropped it, it'll get glue everywhere. And I'm trying to get it as close to the edge up here as possible, because we want it to kind of look like it's a corner metallic. So this is where the benefits of using wet glue come in. So I'm going to go around, I'll show you a corner right here. If for some reason you have a little white showing through, like this, I'm going to end up inking the edges a little bit. But we want to get it as close as possible. So that was just me not paying attention. So I'm going to overlap it a little bit. Because I just want it to look like a corner. I can show that. I know this metallic is not the greatest. So the length of this, the reason it's just this moved. So I have a little bit of gap there. So the reason it's not long enough is because of that gap I have in the middle of the box that I did. So what you might want to do is put a little, depending on what you have, put a little ink. So this has already got a little black ink on it. I was using that earlier. I'm just going to carefully ink that area, darken it up. So if you have a dark paper, this may not be an issue, or it could be and you still want to use it. So this one I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to actually, on top, I'm going to put the long ones and then the side ones, which will be the thicker ones. So when I put this one up at the top, see, I'm being a little awkward with this today. I didn't ink it enough, but that's okay. Everything can't be perfect. I put together so many of these already, trying to get it perfect, but there's too many variables to making it as... But I'm trying to get it as close as possible, so it just looks like the edge is metallic. So you can skip through there. So the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you on camera, is this. I'm going to put this one in. I have a little excess glue there. Just be careful if you go across. Don't want it too thick. You don't have to put these on too, by the way. Get rid of this real quick. Put this on. I'm going to flip it around so you can see as I go. I'm going to try to put it to the edge a little bit closer than to start. So I have my thumb right here. I'm just going to go down the line, try to make sure it's aligned to the edge. And then the same thing when we do this, and I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to put the side ones on, but we're going to line it up as close as possible right there. And so you don't see the gap as much. So I'm going to finish putting these. So this is good. These two are going to be on top. These thick ones will go right here. So they're a little thicker, so I'm putting a little bit different. So this is near the back door, so I'm going to put it close to that. So you can put them any way you want. I just say be consistent. If you want to put those down first and then do just like I did on the sides, you can do that. All this stuff are things that you could do. It'd even be fun if you did a Christmas one with like a red metallic or a green metallic, or like a snow wintry one with a blue metallic or so. Anyways, just giving you ideas. There's just so many ideas when it comes to customizing this particular piece of the project. And then this, we'll put the two skinny things on, we'll put the skinny ones right there, and then I'll put the last thick one right there. So the thick ones go that way. So it's 1, 2, and 3. So I'll finish putting these here, there, there, and there, and then the long one, and then this last thick one. So we're on the home stretch. These are all the remaining things that we need to add to it. So we have the, this will be the box that we attach the tires to. I call it the tire box and tire guide. And then on the bottom. So first we have to do the bottom piece so we can put this together. But let's go ahead and put this together really quick and put the tires on it. So I'm going to put the box with the trailer side without wheels. I'm just trying to get the glue off my fingertips for a minute. Thought I had it off, but I have some dry pieces. The hazards of doing a lot of paper crafting. So actually we're going to do this first. So this is the connector that will fit into the back of the truck, so it can be towed, per se. So we want to take the bottom piece, whatever the bottom piece is. So this happens to be this side because I can see these cuts. So those little cuts right here will be important for us to place this box, okay? But for now, we want to make sure that's facing up, whether you're using texture cardstock or... Then we're going to slide that through, and these are going to glue backwards like this. So we put that together earlier and earlier in the video, so it could dry good and well, and we didn't have to worry about it until we got to this piece. So what I would do is just add glue on one tab. Actually, just two, the opposites. And I went the wrong direction, by the way. No, I actually went the correct direction. Oh, I hate that when it happens, when you do something right and you didn't think you did it right. So, oh, back again. I didn't want to get glue on the bottom. I did it the correct direction. That's why I said to do it the way it was. And then I'm going to fold these down. For some reason, for one split moment, I don't know if you guys have ever had that, but for one split moment. Anyways. And then we'll glue the rest of them outward. So add glue to the rest of them. Making sure you don't get glue on the other side. Excuse me. So this will hold this in place. Then we'll add this panel to the bottom, just like we did the top panel earlier. So I can get as much glue as I want on this side. So I do have some glue leakage, which is fine. I'm good with that. So now what we want to do, and this is the reason why we waited until the last. So once we have everything on, we can go ahead and flip this upside down and put that down. So where this needs to be is actually here. So this, where the cuts right here, this connector should be towards the front of the trailer without the doors. And so it should not be near the opening latch, okay? So make sure again that it's on this side. This is near this side. So we're going to go ahead and we'll just add glue this way. I'm going to go near the end because I never know whether it's going to fit. I think the top one almost fit. It's okay, I can get the excess with my little damp towel. So again, this needs to go that way. But I'm going to line it up. It's not going to make that big of a difference where I line it up, either the back or front. I just want to make sure it's centered. And then I can just lightly rub it to get it secure. I had a little excess. Even the bottom, I like it to be a little cleaner. I did get a little glue on the back, the black connector, but so now we have this connector will allow us to insert it in here. So obviously it still needs, you can see where it is, it still needs wheels, so we're going to do that. Tires. So make sure this is good and secure. So you can see why we did this last, because we can put it flat and apply pressure. Okay, I'm going to keep it upside down. And this went together just like a base box, so I didn't assemble it. I assembled it earlier, but looks like it came up a little bit. So just add a little glue in there. But anyways, the way you put these together are just like the base boxes. Nothing different. And the way you know it was for this design is because of that little oval there. Okay, and that's why we know this goes with it too, because of the oval. And the oval, once this is put together, you want this oval to go towards that side, so it tells you which way to orient this top piece. So you can put it like right here or from either side. So whatever side you put it on, the other side will be visible. So if you have glue on one side, that might be the side you choose. So if you watch this video from the beginning, if you did the truck, then you'll know this just slides over. This is just a little bit different because with the truck, it slides on the top. This theoretically is going to be on the bottom. But it's just creating the height we need. So the biggest thing is once you get the glue on it, you can see how I have it. You put it on here too. You want to make sure that this is going towards this end, the oval. The oval goes toward the oval end, and line it up. And the reason being is that tells me that goes towards the front of the truck. I put enough of a little overhang here to put the mud flaps. So that's the whole reasoning. So once you get it on, I'm just going to put it upside down, do that. And then we can go ahead and, as I'm placing pressure on it, add the tires. So the tires, the way we want to do it, like we did the front of the truck, depending if you watch that first. But anyways, we want to take those seams, find out where those seams are, and put them inward so they can't be seen once we put it together. So if we put seam to seam in, when you have it together, you're not going to see those seams anywhere around the edge. Yes, it's not like the most perfect tires because they're so small, but it's much better than seeing a big seam when you're turning it around. Not a big seam, but seeing the seam at all. So I'm going to add glue on that, and then line it up, making sure the seam's in towards the between the tires. The biggest thing is just lining it up. And then we can go ahead and put all four on. So I'll just put 2 sets on, and the other 2 sets I'll put on off camera. Don't get too much glue around the edge just because it will leak out. I did that before. And you can always, I don't like to, I had an allergic reaction to glue once, so be careful if you are, there are some chemicals that may not be safe for your hands. So that's my safety. So I didn't put those together the greatest, those two tires. I can see it now. I must have been tired when I did it. I'm just rotating a little bit because I noticed that I wanted the seams to go inward a little bit. So we'll do that on the other side as well, and then we'll add it to the trailer, bottom of the trailer. Now all we got to do, now that I have the wheels on this, all you've got to do is make sure that oval, look at that oval, and put it that direction. So there's these cut lines. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cut lines. You can see. And there's the oval right there. So we're going to center it. That's going to tell us where to put it. So you just want to center it between those cut lines. So I'm going to put glue right in between the cut lines. So I call them my guidelines. And then we're going to go ahead and place it like that, making sure that oval is towards the back. So then I can adjust it right there. So I'm looking for the cut lines, making sure, because it's just going to help us center it where we need it. They may not be perfect, but when it comes together, it works. These are teeny weeny wheels, tires, much smaller than I ever envisioned I wanted it to be, but I wanted it to be in scale. So I think I mentioned that earlier, so that's the reason why it's the way it is. And see, I can see the seams a little bit right here, but you won't be able to see them when they're upright. So make sure you do that long enough. And then while it's upside down, while that's drying, we can put this on. So I'm going to put that on the back. So it goes like this. No need to waste moments. So this is going to go like that. So when it's upright, it'll be like this. I just wanted to give it time because it's metallic to dry, and not to pause the video on me again. And it also helps while it's upside down to put the back mud flaps. So the mud flaps, if you recall what the other ones look like right here, it's kind of where I placed them on this. I kind of went down just a smidgen from the top and placed them down, but you can do it to what looks good to you. So because this is a thicker box, let me just double check the difference. So you can see how far down they go on this. So you can kind of look at from the side and determine where you're going to glue it. So you can go all the way up if you want, or come down just a little bit. Yeah. This is where it gets hard with something big like this. So I'm going to pull it not halfway down, but part way down with a little gap. So I'm going to add glue. Let's see if I can show you where I'm adding the glue. You can see where I put the glue with a little gap at the top. Can't move. Then we'll place it right there and center it. So I'll do that down here because the camera, this is way too big for my camera setup. Like literally what you see beyond this, I have probably about a 3-foot section that I can actually use on my desk because I'm in a very small space. So I can't really go, if I went higher with the camera, all you would do is see my mess in smaller area. So there it is. Put the little mud flaps on. So I think we've got it set, so let's go ahead and put it together with the truck. So here it is, finished, put together. So it just when it puts together, this just slides into this to hook it up. So from the side, this is what it looks like. So remember, there's an opening in the back. So I don't think I'll be able to. We'll just pull this up. So when you wanted to do that, obviously, we're going to pull that up. And then there's that. Open it up. You can open it up, then you'll have a place to put a small gift or a gift card. So you are awesome. It'll fit in here like that. Might go sideways, but it'll fit. You can see it's quite deep. So that's it, and then just can latch it close. Like that. And then it just goes again like that. The only thing you'll want to do is be careful of the little exhausts so you don't mess around with those a little bit. There it is. I'm kind of proud of this one, and I hope a few of you like it. Thank you so much for watching.